Chinese scholar warns, second COVID-19 wave looms at the end of June, expects surge of 65 million cases per week. Central leadership pushes for toilet revolution once again, official media's previous criticism as heartbreaking project. Is China's commercial real estate facing a dead end? Wanda Group denies large-scale layoffs. The fever of Chinese going abroad soars. Consulates in China experience lengthy visa appointment queue. Escalating technology war. CCP's ban on U.S. semiconductor chips faces backlash. It's all covered in today's China Truths. Chinese scholar warns, second COVID-19 wave looms at the end of June, expects surge of 65 million cases per week. According to a post from the Caixin media app Weibo account, at the Biomedical and Health Subforum of the Greater Bay Area Science Forum on May 22, Chinese Academy of Engineering academician Zhong Nanshan stated that the forecast for the second wave of COVID-19 XBB variant in China in 2023 indicated a peak starting in mid-April, with a weekly peak of approximately 40 million cases by the end of May, and by the end of June, there would be a peak in the second wave, with approximately 65 million people getting infected per week. He stated that a single Omicron case could transmit the virus to more than 30 people, and emphasized that the epidemic control strategy had shifted from preventing infections in the past to preventing severe cases, as preventing infections is challenging. Zhong Nanshan also mentioned that the cause of death from the Omicron infection was not solely severe pneumonia. Currently, deaths are often attributed to the exacerbation of underlying diseases such as heart disease, neurological disorders, and kidney disease, which are worsened by the virus. Therefore, it is crucial to prevent infections in all individuals with underlying health conditions rather than just preventing severe cases. As previously reported, Zhong stated that, based on testing, a significant number of people in China showed elevated levels of antibodies against the COVID-19 virus. This indicates that approximately 80% of the population, or around 1.1 to 1.2 billion people, have been infected with the virus. He believes that the next steps in dealing with COVID-19 infections involve the development of vaccines capable of covering the XBB variant and timely administration of drug treatments to reduce mortality rates. Zhong Nanshan's statement about a possible peak in the epidemic by the end of June quickly became a hot topic on Weibo, attracting complaints, doubts, and mockery from netizens. A netizen angrily remarks, creating panic warnings about the epidemic, selling medicines and vaccines with warnings, sealing our doors. Yes, I am so wicked, my karma is negative year-round. Another questions whether this is for the purpose of promoting vaccine booster shots, saying, you just tell us what to do directly. Will we need to receive another round of COVID-19 vaccines? Will we need to restore nucleic acid testing booths in advance? Will we need to drink several boxes of the traditional Chinese medicine you recommended? There are also Weibo users who express their opinions, saying, it doesn't matter anymore, we have already had secondary infections, so we are not afraid of a peak anymore. When he says the end of June, it still holds some credibility. After all, the CDC, China Centers for Disease Control and Prevention, no longer publishes data, and we are just speculating. He definitely has first-hand data. Is it time for Lianhua Qingwen, a traditional Chinese medicine, to achieve its sales KPI again? Central leadership pushes for toilet revolution once again, official media's previous criticism as heartbreaking project. The Chinese Communist Party, CPC, recently held a meeting, calling for the advancement of the nationwide toilet revolution in rural areas in Pingshan County, Hebei Province. However, this toilet revolution, personally ordered by Xi Jinping, not only consumes a huge amount of funds but has also been criticized. The meeting stated that the current rural sanitation toilet coverage rate in the country has exceeded 73%. However, there are still issues in some rural areas regarding lax quality control, unsuitable technical models, and inadequate operation and maintenance. Therefore, the advancement of the rural toilet revolution was emphasized. According to NTD-TV, the concept was proposed by Xi Jinping in April 2015, with the claim that focusing on the toilet revolution can enhance the quality of China's tourism industry, and that the toilet problem is not a trivial matter, and it should not only be addressed in scenic areas and cities but also in rural areas. Subsequently, major cities and rural areas in China started a rush to carry out the toilet revolution, with the CCP allocating funds every year to support it. In 2020 alone, 7.4 billion yuan was allocated to support the rural toilet revolution. Guangdong province allocated over 32.9 billion yuan from 2018 to 2020, while Yunnan province invested 1.475 billion yuan for this project. However, in January 2021, the party media unusually criticized the toilet revolution as a heartbreaking project and a facade project. On January 28, Xinhua News Agency published a commentary titled "Investing Billions to Build 80,000 Abandoned Toilets. Can the Toilet Revolution Deceive Everyone?" It pointed out that in Shenyang, Liaoning province, over 1 billion yuan was invested in renovating over 80,000 toilets in the past 5 years, but more than 50,000 of them were abandoned. Most of the outdoor toilets built between 2016 and 2018 were left unused. On January 29, CCTV, the state broadcaster, published an article stating that the rural toilet revolution did not bring convenience to the people but instead created obstacles. The article questioned whether local officials only cared about appearances and neglected substance when it came to important livelihood projects. It criticized some officials for finding ways to embezzle kickbacks from toilet construction and profit from livelihood projects. In the party media reports, there were images showing toilets installed by the Shenyang authorities facing the kitchen stove without any barrier and lacking water supply and drainage. Some people also complained, in the cold winter of the north, the small pit freezes after one use. It's not feasible to heat water for flushing every time we use the toilet. Due to the lack of toilets, villagers had no choice but to build temporary makeshift pit latrines in front of their homes, some of which were constructed near ponds, resulting in direct sewage discharge into the ponds. Eventually, the entire village resorted to open defecation. In November 2018, a village cadre in Hubei province demanded a poor elderly couple to spend 2,000 yuan, about $283.63, to renovate their toilet, threatening to cancel their status as impoverished households and medical benefits if they refused. The elderly couple had no choice but to sell their food rations and reluctantly provide 800 yuan, about $113.45, to refurbish the toilet. The unfinished toilet was in much better condition than their living quarters. Regarding the issue of unusable newly constructed toilets and how to handle inspections by higher authorities, villagers revealed, the village cadre informs us in advance when superiors come for inspections, instructing us not to tell the truth. He teaches us what to say and gives us 200 yuan. In response to the problems arising from the toilet revolution, Tang Renjian, the governor of Gansu province, once expressed that the toilet revolution was something President Xi Jinping constantly cared about and personally promoted. However, it has now become a decorative item that neither looks good nor serves its purpose, resulting in the expenditure of money and the accumulation of public grievances. However, a CCTV report in July 2019 exposed how the project has turned into a breeding ground for corruption, with certain local governments using it as a means to deceive and obtain financial subsidies. Additionally, during the implementation of the toilet revolution, local governments engaged in fierce competition, striving to build extravagant 5-star toilets. These lavatories in Yanqing, Jiangsu province, cost a staggering 2 million yuan each. Public toilets constructed in cities like Suzhou, Yangzhou, and Guangzhou had unit costs as high as 1 million yuan. Some of these 5-star toilets were equipped with luxuries such as microwaves, automatic shoe polishers, flat-screen TVs, and state-of-the-art odor-eliminating air conditioning, which attracted widespread criticism at the time. Is China's commercial real estate facing a dead end? Wanda Group denies large-scale layoffs. Recently, there were media reports suggesting that Wanda Group, China's largest commercial real estate developer and operator, planned to initiate significant layoffs before June, estimated at around 30% of the workforce, in order to reduce personnel costs. This could potentially involve demotions, salary reductions for senior executives, and a hiring freeze where the company aims to only decrease its workforce without any new hires. This development raises concerns about the future of China's commercial real estate industry, with questions emerging about whether it is heading towards a dead end. According to the information available, Wanda Group is currently facing financial pressure primarily due to domestic debt in mainland China and the repurchase obligations related to the listing agreement of Zhuhai Wanda. A report from Guangdian.cn on May 9 indicated that Wanda Group is undergoing a restructuring of its domestic debt. The report mentioned that the refinancing plan of Wanda Group mainly focuses on seeking new financing for all domestic loans maturing this year, thereby avoiding the need to repay the principal. The market interpretation of this development largely suggests that Wanda Group no longer has sufficient funds to repay the upcoming debts. According to DM Chatatong data, Wanda Group and its same controlling entity have a principal amount of 4.163 billion yuan due for domestic bonds within this year, along with approximately 714 million yuan in outstanding interest payments. According to China's Executive Information Disclosure website, Wanda Real Estate has been listed as a dishonest debtor by the court twice. Furthermore, Wanda Real Estate's former legal representative, Zhang Lin, has been associated with restrictions on high consumption. In addition to the urgent need for funds in the real estate sector, Wanda's real estate, commercial, film, and investment subsidiaries are all facing a cash flow deficiency situation. A YouTuber known as True Account believes that, learning from the lessons of Evergrande Group, the news of layoffs at Wanda will prompt its partners and property owners to take preemptive actions, which could accelerate the possible collapse of Wanda. If Wanda were to collapse, the impact would be no less significant than that of Evergrande. The fever of Chinese going abroad soars. Consulates in China experience lengthy visa appointment queue. In addition to a large number of young people going abroad to study and work, the number of people applying for visas to go abroad has also increased sharply in Daxing, China. According to reports from domestic media, it is extremely difficult to secure an appointment at various consulates, and the visa application process is comparable to the rush for tickets during the Chinese New Year. However, in some places, the visa rejection rate has reached 70%. Currently, the visa appointment applications at various consulates in China continue to soar, and the visa processing is operating at full capacity. On May 18, a lot of travel agencies were forwarding two messages: the appointment situation for B-category visas to the United States, non-immigrant visas for short-term stays for tourism or business purposes by foreigners, in the Shanghai Consular District is already booked until the end of October, and the appointment time for French visas is also scheduled for August. For ordinary Chinese citizens, traveling to Europe and the United States has become a luxury, and many people are turning to Asian countries instead. Data from Trip shows that in the past month, the top 5 countries with the highest number of visa applications are Singapore, Japan, Malaysia, Thailand, and South Korea. Travel agencies have seen the fastest increase in handling Japanese visa applications. An employee from a travel agency mentioned that in the past 3 months, their company has seen a 30% year-on-year increase in inquiries for Japanese visas, with the number of individual visa applications exceeding 50% compared to the same period in 2019. In the face of visa difficulties, many Chinese citizens are resorting to various means to leave the country. On May 8, the Australian Broadcasting Corporation, ABC, reported that the number of Chinese citizens going through unofficial channels to illegally immigrate to the United States has dramatically increased. It is estimated that since October of last year, the number has exceeded 6,500 people, a 15-fold increase compared to the same period a year ago. One going through unofficial channels migrant from Shandong, a single mother, escaped from China with her 9-year-old son in February and arrived in the United States at the end of March after a month of arduous and circuitous journey. She told New Tang Dynasty Television, "Sometimes, when it was the most difficult while walking on the road, I thought, should I go back? But when I think about the Communist Party, I absolutely cannot go back." She added, "They treat us like livestock. If they want your organs, they can take them out, they can empty your bank account. According to Voice of America, a migrant in his 80s named Xiao Wang said that he used to run a small business in China, but the 3-year impact of the pandemic and lockdowns have severely affected his life. The pressure of survival in China is too great, and it is difficult to obtain a U.S. visa, so he had no choice but to resort to unofficial means. Escalating technology war, CCP's ban on U.S. semiconductor chips faces backlash. On May 21, Chinese authorities issued a statement urging local operators of critical information infrastructure to cease their purchases from Micron Technology Incorporated, a chip maker based in the United States. The authorities cited significant security risks associated with the company, although no specific details were provided. The Cyberspace Administration of China, CAC, stated that Micron had failed a security review, which was begun after the United States announced export bans that affected China's access to advanced semiconductors. The CAC said its probe found a relatively serious potential network that could threaten China's key information infrastructure supply chain and national security, although the agency didn't outline the identified risks nor what Micron products were affected. The CAC statement came a day after G7 leaders issued a communiqué criticizing China for its militarization activities in the South China Sea and human rights abuses in Tibet and Xinjiang. It is widely believed that the CCP's targeting of Micron is a retaliatory measure in response to U.S. President Joe Biden's efforts to prevent China from obtaining or producing high-end semiconductors. However, experts generally believe that the ban will not have a significant impact on Micron. China affairs expert Heng Yi said, announcing the ban on Micron during the G7 summit is intended to convey a message of retaliation. However, the Chinese Communist Party still needs Western technology and chips. The challenge is to retaliate without harming oneself. This requires a balance. So the reason for choosing Micron may be that, on the one hand, it believes it can find alternative suppliers, and on the other hand, it won't result in self-sanctions on high-tech chips. Micron Technology, along with South Korea's Samsung Electronics and SK Hynix, is a storage chip giant. After the Chinese announcement of the ban on Micron products, Samsung's stock rose slightly on Monday. Xie Tian said, "The next step the United States is likely to take is to establish cooperation with South Korea and Japan, so as not to let Japanese and Korean companies take advantage of the situation. Instead, a broad coalition should be formed to jointly sanction China. In that case, China will likely quickly realize that it may truly lose the phone-related chips it needs from the United States, South Korea, and Japan." The United States last year imposed sweeping restrictions on access to chip-making technology to impede China's technological and military advances. Advanced semiconductor chips are used to make everything from pickup trucks to hypersonic missiles. Currently, more than 60% of the world's supply of chips is produced in Taiwan, many of them with the help of U.S. research and design. On March 31, Japan imposed export restrictions on 23 types of semiconductor manufacturing equipment, drawing criticism from Beijing for weaponizing trade and tech issues and causing disruptions in global industrial and supply chains. While 42 countries, including the United States and Taiwan, are eligible for simplified export measures, China faces stricter controls and is not included in the list. Don't forget to comment in the section below to share your opinions on today's topic with us. Make sure to like and subscribe to see more interesting topics from China Truths.